This happens to be the reality of so many persons with work every single day, especially if you're involved in the service industry where sometimes work can be very hectic. You may not have that allocation of time that goes towards lunch or break, and you really have to make do with the little time you have available. In instances like this, we would need a very unique strategy that helps in ensuring that we are able to apply that smaller, more frequent meals method that we were actually interested in. So, how do we begin? We simply begin by planning. For something like this to work and for it to work effectively, it is very important for us to plan. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. We heard that all the time during school. So here's how we begin. If you know that you're working either day shift this week or night shift, you would have to really pay attention to it and look for the time slots that you have available to eat. Secondly, begin to make your shopping list. You have to know what it is that you're going to need to prepare the meals. After you get the shopping list and you purchase the items, go forward now to ensure that you're preparing the specific meals for the specific feeding opportunities that you have. Because what you'll find is if a time comes for you to eat and you don't have the meal there, most likely you're not going to end up eating. So meal preparation is very important. If you know today you're going to be eating this specific meal based on whatever diet you're following or whatever information that you're using to help you reduce the body fat, I would recommend preparing your meals ahead of time. Sometimes you can do that at the beginning of the week, or you can do that at the beginning of the day to ensure that when lunch comes, you actually have something to eat. Secondly, make sure that when a feeding opportunity arises, that you actually eat. A lot of persons, when the time comes to eat, they're so overwhelmed with work that they say, I can eat later or just drink something, or they're caught up on social media or distractions or just socializing with people generally that they forget that it's time to eat and I actually have to eat because I may not get the chance to eat for another 5 hours. So it's very important that when that feeding opportunity comes, do not miss a meal. Very, very important. Don't miss meals, because if you have breakfast at, let's say, 7 and then the next feeding opportunity arises at 1, that's about 6 hours. You can't miss that because the next one may arise still at 5 p.m. and we can't allow for that, because what's going to happen, your metabolism is going to begin to slow down and your fat burning organs mechanism is really going to function otherwise than how we actually want them to function. So it's very important that when you have a feeding opportunity, make sure you eat and don't miss meals. Thirdly, do your best that when these feeding opportunities come around, eat your calories and don't drink them. A lot of people get so caught up after having worked for hours and a feeding opportunity arises that instead of actually going to sit and eat, they just grab a Coke, a Lucozade, an energy drink, some form of fluid or some shake, and they consume it and then they get back to work. But what you'll find is you'll become very hungry very fast after consuming that shake. Why? Because it's a fluid. Fluids digest and are absorbed into your body much faster than solid foods. So this is why we recommend utilizing a solid form of food rather than actually using a fluid. Fourthly, very important, and this would actually help you in ensuring that you're able to get frequent meals throughout the day. Because remember, you don't actually have that time to say, okay, 10 o'clock is a break or a snack and then lunch is at 1 and then at 3 again. No, we have to really put in whatever we can during that time. I recommend protein shakes. Protein shakes are a great way of getting in some calories and getting in your daily protein intake on a busy schedule. Why? Because you make them at home, shake it up in a bottle, just add the protein and water or protein and some milk, whether it's regular milk or almond milk, and you take it with you. What this does is it ensures that you always have a meal there with you. You can keep it in a cup or a bottle or some form of container, and when the opportunity arises, let's say you may even plan your meal, let's say every 2 to 2.5 hours, you can now slip out for about 2 minutes and you take that container and you just consume that protein shake very quickly and you're back at work. So whilst you're working, your body actually has something to work with. What this does is it helps to keep your metabolism active. It keeps it going. So if you have breakfast, then you have a snack maybe 3 hours later, which is the protein shake in this case. Then lunch comes around, then you have another protein shake, and then you may have dinner. And if necessary, you could stitch another protein shake in there during the day. Or if need arises, you may even double up on your serving of protein shake. That's a good way to help you to get at least about 50 to 75 grams of protein from your protein shake, whether it's 1 serving, 2 serving, or 3 servings of the protein shake. Very important. And also when it comes down to exercise, because I know on this fat loss journey most likely you'll be exercising, do your best on days when you're not feeling full of energy, on a day where you may not have eaten as much as you did the previous day or you had planned to. When you go to exercise, do your best to not overexert yourself. What that's going to do is it's going to drain your blood sugar level. It's going to drop really fast. And what's going to happen, you're going to have that craving, a sugar craving, because your brain works on oxygen and sugar. And when your blood sugar levels drops and you get that craving now, you're going to end up going and fill yourself up with some sugary form of snack or beverage just to replenish your sugar stores or to get sugar to your brain so you can function properly. That's one of the reasons why when you're exercising, you'll find that you may get head swings, you may feel lightheaded, because the amount of sugar that's in your brain, that's in your blood sugar level that your brain utilizes, it's depleting rapidly. So you're gonna start to get those head swings and so on. So if you know that you haven't had a sufficient meal for that day, or you haven't had enough calories to go and exercise, it would be wise to reduce the intensity of your exercise, or just communicate to a trainer or your gym partner if you have someone that you work with, and let them know that for that day you're going to reduce your intensity. Because if your intensity is not reduced and you go hardcore, you go all out at it, your sugar level is going to drop rapidly and you're going to seek to replenish that sugar level, and that's going to take you 2 steps backward for that specific day. So pay attention to these methods, these 5 simple methods that we're going to incorporate in this specific lifestyle experience, this specific unique work accommodation that we're making. So number 1, prepare or plan your meals ahead. Plan the time that you're actually going to be consuming these meals, and make sure that you have them on hand or you're able to access them. Number 2, when a feeding opportunity arises, do not miss meals. Make sure to consume the meals that you have already prepared for that feeding opportunity. Number 3, do your best to eat your calories on these feeding opportunities and not to drink them. Number 4, consume protein shakes. They're a very useful tool in helping you to eat smaller meals throughout the day. And number 5, whenever you're going to exercise and your energy levels are low, do not overexert yourself. Reduce your level of physical activity to ensure that you're able to manage it, so that you don't end up going back and filling yourself up with sugar just to replenish the sugar stores that are within your brain. So these are some simple methods, 5 simple methods that you can utilize if you find it difficult to eat constantly throughout work, which is, I find, is most persons' work experience. It's very hectic today with work, so it's very difficult to find that time 2 to 3 times a day to sit and have a meal. You may be rushing out to work, so you don't have breakfast. When you come home from work, you may find yourself distracted or busy, so you're not having sufficient meals throughout the day to facilitate fat loss. So try these methods, adjust based on your lifestyle, adjust wherever necessary. Sometimes you may be having a day shift for a week shift, adjust wherever necessary to ensure that, okay, this strategy that I'm using here is ensuring that I'm advancing every single week. It may not be as mainstream as you think it is, because work can be very dynamic. I know that work can be very dynamic. So do your best. I encourage you. I believe in you. I know that you can get this done. If you have any other questions, you can drop them, you can reach out to me, and we can make some small tweaks wherever necessary. If you may even need to book a coaching session, you can do so that we can further advance these strategies to ensure that, okay, you're able to implement the smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day. So all the best.